food orders and shit in the background.
Good afternoon and welcome to a bright and sunny ROWRAH. ROWRAH in the heart of Cumbria, just northwest of Brassenswaite Lake to be exact. It's a track that's been synonymous with karting in the UK for many, many decades now. First started racing here in the 1960s, and one of the places, you probably hear me say this many, many times, it's one of the places, the very first kart track that I ever raced at was here at ROWRAH in Cumbria. We've got an added bonus for you this afternoon. We're bringing you the first two heats to kick off the weekend, and it'll be
bonus.
Bonus. Everything's a bonus.
Oh, it's NKC. All a bonus, isn't it?
The Junction 6 NKC continues to deliver. We've got two heats coming up, and they're both in the senior Rotax class. The first one is for the 177, the slightly heavier class, and then the second of the heats that will be bringing you this afternoon, all live, is the 162 weight category. The 2023 Junction 6 NKC kicked off only a few weeks ago, it seems now, at the Three Sisters circuit, just in the northwest of the country. And we saw some absolutely fantastic racing all the way through that weekend. If you keep a tab on our Karting Live TV Facebook page and the NKC drivers page, you will have noticed a new feature for this season, which is my choice of the race of the weekend.
Oh, yes, the weekend. And you just started deliberating like an indecisive
Nick,
sprinter.
I actually couldn't. My name's Joe Bradley. Alongside me is Nick Damon.
Hello.
The usual suspects to bring the NKC.
Couldn't convince Johnny to come again. He's got the Nürburgring.
No, he has indeed. Nick, I tell you what, you tasked me with pretty much an impossible job of picking out the best race from Three Sisters, and I really, really, sincerely couldn't. It's like choosing your favourite child. In fact, you know what? That's actually easier. I did plumb for the Formula TKM race at the end of the day, but to be honest, every single class delivered. Even the smallest grid of the weekend, which is the Minimax class, brought about one of the biggest grandstand finishes of the weekend, if not the whole season. And it was just a weekend of racing through the heats. We expect close racing, we expect lots of overtaking. It's mixed grids, so that's what that brings. But when we got to the finals, oh my goodness, was it not? So we've got the 177's going to be coming to us first. It's a heat of 8 minutes and 1 lap. Here we are at ROWRAH. ROWRAH is one of the trickiest and most technical tracks. It's what gives it that title in my book is these tricky hairpins that we have here. It's slightly different to the track I raced in the 80s and 90s, where they put in an extension. I'm not quite sure of the date when the extension came, but they put in a fabulous extension utilising all of the disused quarry. It's been a long time since this place was a quarry, but again, one of the most picturesque tracks we come to as well, Nick, considering the drive that you have to encounter to get here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is soft southerner complaining, but 4.5 hours from Milton Keynes is
get over it, mate.
Bit of a run.
That's standard from where I am.
But when you get to the motorway, the last 45 minutes is very picturesque indeed. It's very nice.
Well, I come across from the north east of the country, basically from coast to coast, and I have to skirt the Lake District from across the A6. I literally come across the Pennines, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from. When you get to close by here at ROWRAH, it is absolutely stunning. There's a reason why it's a national park around this area, and you'll see the reason why. If you haven't been to ROWRAH, then the question is why. Especially if you're into kart racing, because it's one of the main tracks in the UK. I mentioned the technicalities, I mentioned the challenge that the track brings. It's going to be continuing in that vein pretty much the whole weekend. And it's all about the hairpins. The hairpins...
You're more obsessed with hairpins than a 14-year-old doing her hair.
ROWRAH's lap time, to get a quick lap here at ROWRAH, it's all about getting into and out of those hairpins as quickly as possible. And it absolutely takes nothing to overcook it and go in too deep. You're on about, you're talking about a braking point, you're talking about a turn-in point, you're talking about just being a metre offline and not getting that kart straight to punch out of that slow corners. It's all about the slow corners, isn't it?
Yes.
Everybody's pretty similar in the fast turns. It's the slow ones where you have to actually slow down and then accelerate up.
You spend more time in the slow corners.
You do, and it's easy to make a mistake as well, Nick.
Yeah. So we're just waiting for the first of 2 heats for this afternoon. We'll also, as an extra bonus, you hang around, we'll play out a. Well, it's going to be a slightly shorter version of the lunchtime show that's going to go in the end because Joe's been working so hard. He got his extra interviews after I put it all together. So that's the lunch. So watch out for the lunchtime show tomorrow. It'll be longer than the Paddock show is today.
I'm always adding.
Always. Yeah.
Always
Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah,
I'm massively over modded there. I do apologise.
That's just my hearing.
I better put some compressor on myself.
I suppose. Yeah. I mean, we're bringing you the 2 heats that we're going to get done and dusted this afternoon for the 177s and the 162. But tomorrow's timetable,
packed.
You know, it is chocker.
What time we starting?
It is absolutely chocker. The warm up starts at 9. Each class gets a warm up, and then we get straight into the 8 minutes and 1 lap heats. And we go all the way through till probably towards 6 o'clock, I would think, to get through everything. I've noticed here, Nick, there's no lunchtime. Oh, there it is. Sorry, my thumb was over it.
Look, I'm sorry, I have content for lunchtime, so there needs to be a lunchtime.
There needs to be a lunchtime.
Nothing to do with lunch. We just do with our content. It's all about the content, love.
We do tune in tomorrow because we've got a cracking paddock show for you. We've got some really interesting people that I caught up with in the paddock. Well,
people who are listening now will be able to see it at the end of this broadcast.
Oh, you're putting
it on the end of this.
Right,
I'll put it up separate. Oh, I'm sweating the assets.
Oh, really?
Sweating the assets.
Yes, you really are. I think I need to invoice you twice for that paddock show.
I'm still going to work out how I can play with the mic flag. You know.
Oh, you're really impressed, are you? Yeah.
Yes, you need to watch out when you see the paddock show because Joe has literally built the mic flag from scratch.
I have dragged you kicking and screaming into professionalism, haven't I?
Yeah, into the 1980s.
Yes. What you mean with the mic flag?
Yeah.
So we've got we have got the carts in the collecting area, which here at ROWRAH is a nice sort of covered shed. They're
basically a bit longer, aren't they? They're supposed to roll at 5:30.
Yes, they are. We're 2 minutes over. Sarah has got them going. We've got carts on track, and the second round of the Junction 6 NKC, the National Kart Cup for 2023, kicks off quite literally.
I'm going to go and do some fiddling, so I'm going to leave you with this for a second.
You can leave me, absolutely. Mixed grids, what do we mean by mixed grids? If you're new to karting in the NKC, there is no timed qualifying. We basically just draw the grid slots for the 3 heats for each competitor, where you will get one heat where you'll start near the front, another heat where you'll start in the middle, and another heat where you'll start near the back of the field, and that way you get a good mix. That way, what that gives us, certainly in our business, the entertainment business, it gives you a situation where you can have fast drivers buried at the back of the grid, and we will get to witness them making their way through. It's Rhys Llewellyn in that sinister black livery, which I absolutely love, who's leading this field round. And I'm not sure who we've got. It's Chris Sivia, who's also alongside. We've got Chris Thomas behind them, and then Dave Nolan alongside. Lawrence Hilton and Steve Gilly are on row 3. Row 4 is Steve Richardson and Martin Ingham. We're already with us, and we should get things underway. We are racing indeed into the first sequence of bends here. And we've got a false start. A few karters waving their hands round, gesticulating that it was a false start, so we get another rolling lap. Slick tyres on these karts. I was about to say there's no need for that collecting area shed to shelter from, because there's nothing to shelter from other than the sunshine here at ROWRAH. It is a beautiful, picturesque venue, a cracking track, and the sun shines here. It makes it even a better place to be at. Rhys Llewellyn is the black cart that you can see in the front of the picture. Chris Sivia is alongside him. And then behind them, Chris Thomas, I should say, is on the 134. Depends how they came across the line is how I've got them in front of us. But what I can tell you is they're getting towards the 53 alongside Chris Sivia. It is sharing that front row with Rhys Llewellyn. They are lined up nicely compacted as they come out. They just need to be careful of a jump start, and it's Rhys Llewellyn in that black cart who gets ahead, and it looks like Chris Thomas on the 134 who will be second. No, we've still got a false start, and I can tell you why, because the pole man is getting away before everyone else. So the starter not happy, and it's another attempt at getting things underway. So behind the front row of Llewellyn and Sivia, Chris Thomas, Lawrence Hilton are on row 2, Steve Gilly and Dave Nolan are on row 3, Stephen Richardson. Local driver Steve Richardson, and we saw him on the podium here at ROWRAH. It's his local track, and his words, "I'm a one-track wonder, Joe," he said to me. He certainly is at ROWRAH, and we expect big things from you this weekend, Steve, starting with Heat 1 for the Rotax 177 class. Alongside Steve is Alex Jones, then we've got Martin Ingham, Richard Evans, Stephen Harswell, Tyler Kelsey, Jake Lewis, Alex Thomas, Harry Wainwright, who we spoke to in the Paddock show, Harrison Crook alongside him. Now if Rhys Llewellyn can just hold his nerve and keep these carts ready, this is much better looking as we get towards, and he has to jump up and down on the cart that just didn't pick up, did it? But he still leads into turn 1, into the right chicane, over the brow of the hill. You can't quite see the turning point there as you go up the hill in the right-hand bit, into the first of the hairpins, and then into the left-hander. Defensively, slightly middle of the road for Rhys Llewellyn, and he's staying on the right-hand side of the track, making it very, very hard for... We'll check and see who that is when they come through. Down the hill towards that sweeping right-hander. And just in front of us, it's the number 134 of Chris Thomas, who will lead across the line. 1 lap completed. Chris Thomas, Rhys Llewellyn second, Lawrence Hilton is in third, Chris Sivia down to 4th, Dave Nolan 5th, Steve Gilly 6th, then it's Alex Jones, Richard Evans, Stephen Richardson 9th, and Martin Ingham rounding off the top 10. Chris Thomas, though, he looked very determined from that second row start, and already through Iredale's and then into the right hand. It's a very late apex there because we've got a little bit of a chicane on the exit that you've got to get the cart pointing at down the hill. Got to be very precise there, get the cart back across to the right and then keep that momentum. And Chris Thomas, no doubt, he's pulling away from Rhys Llewellyn. Rest of the field streaming through beneath us here in the driver's lounge here at ROWRAH, just next to the cafeteria. And Llewellyn going very, very wide indeed. That's allowed Lawrence Hilton the momentum to come down his inside and take that second spot. Llewellyn comes back at him, bumper to bumper. And let's have a look at that again. And that was all about how they came out of the left-hand hairpin. And Llewellyn got very wide, but that's a textbook overtake there for Lawrence Hilton. Coming towards the completion of 3 laps then. Into that final turn. It's faster than it looks. Chris Thomas leads. Lawrence Hilton now second. Rhys Llewellyn third. Steve Gilly, what a drive that was on lap 2. Saw that, didn't see that one. As Llewellyn tries down the inside of Hilton. And there's 2 lines through these hairpins, and we'll see that all weekend. You leave the door open to take the optimum line, and that just urges the driver following you to have a go. But now he's lost a lot of time as Rhys Llewellyn has dropped right back off Lawrence Hilton. Keep an eye out for the number 26, Steve Gilly, who was 9th after 2 laps. He's come through in 5th there. As Llewellyn comes back to the rear bumper of that second place Lawrence Hilton. Behind these 2 though, if we can just drop back, Paul, that's the battle there. Steve Gilly there on the orange livery just behind Chris Sivia, but challenging. Steve Gilly down the inside of Sivia. Can he make it stick? No, he's got the momentum of Sivia and he uses all of the track to come out of there. It's too wide as Steve Gilly now has to defend from Stephen Richardson. And Stephen leaves the door open. He's lost the place to Richard Evans. So swapping and changing there, you challenge a driver in front of you and leave the door open. And another move down the inside. Into the right-hander. and somebody peeling off into the pits. Not quite sure who that was. We'll check that out. But we've lost one of our competitors. Chris Thomas, fastest man on the track at the moment, reached the well in second now. Gotten ahead of Chris Sivia again. As that battle for third down over rages on. Richard Evans being challenged and absolutely bogging down, coming out that left-hand hairpin. Oh, and that's a misbraking there, and off contact there. Let's see that again, and it looked like his foot slipped off the pedal. I'm not quite sure who that is. I can't quite see the number, but you saw right into the back of that purple and white cart, and whether or not he's been able to get it out the gravel, I don't think they have. We've lost two competitors now on lap 6, and it's the 53. That's Chris Sivia, who's dropping down the order with Richard Evans, and that was unfortunate. Richard Evans it was, from my estimation, who missed his braking point completely there, and Richard just spiking into the back of Chris Sivia, taking them both out. Unfortunately, that is not a good start to the weekend. That settled things down now. We've got drivers making their way through. Here comes the leader though. It'll be 7 laps completed inside of 2.5 minutes as well. Rhys Llewellyn completes 7 laps, just comes underneath us now. The gap to the leader out to 7.6 seconds. Chris Thomas, absolutely the man to beat here in this first heat for the 177 Rotax class. Time ticking by very, very quickly. This 8 minutes and 1 lap does go by very, very quickly indeed. Rhys Llewellyn there, just using all of the curbs. You have to use the curbs here. Some tracks where you perhaps shouldn't. ROWRAH is a place on some parts of the track where you really need to hammer those curbs with the cart, and of course you really need to be on top of your preparation to do so. And you really need to check those carts over right across the exit curbing of the chicane, I should say. As Chris Thomas continues to lead, he'll be 9 laps completed next time by. But behind him, Rhys Llewellyn now has local driver in that bright yellow helmet, Stephen Richardson. I'm a one-track wonder, Joe, he said to me this time last year. And he really does know his way around. He's just gesticulated to Rhys Llewellyn to maybe work together, but he's right on the bumper now of Llewellyn into the penultimate corner, the left-hander, and there down the inside, that is a wide open door he's been left, and who's gone with him? It's Harry Wainwright, the youngster who had to miss practice yesterday for his GCSE exams, has come through into third now and is right on the rear bumper of Stephen Richardson. He's going to need a lot of pace. These are two very, very tall lads as well on these two carts. Rhys Llewellyn now is wondering what has gone on there, because he's dropped 2 places now to 4th. Alex Jones 5th, 6th is Steve Gilly, Dan Millwood 7th, Alex Thomas 8th, Tim Darlow 9th, and it's Cole Edwards who rounds off that top 10. With only a few seconds remaining, Chris Thomas, will he make it, or will it be the last lap board? We've got a red flag. Red flag flies, not quite sure where the incident is, but we've brought right on the 0 time as well, no time on the clock. The competitors will pull up on the start-finish straight. We've got a few carts strewn around the circuit. That will have to be recovered, so I've got no details of why that red flag was brought out, but I can give you a provisional rundown of the field. Last time by, 9 laps completed. It was Chris Thomas who led the field. Stephen Richardson in second place. Both of these drivers in the Masters class, which is the older driver, over 35s. Harry Wainwright, certainly not. Harry's still only 16. And Harry is the driver who we have a chat to and a catch-up with in our Paddock show. And the reason for doing that is Harry last year moved into the senior class, the 162 senior class, because he was basically too tall. And going forward into 2023, Harry has moved into the 177 class because he continues to grow. And so Rhys Llewellyn is the driver in 4th place behind Harry Wainwright. Then we've got Alex Jones in 5th, Steve Gilly 6th, Dan Millward 7th, Alex Thomas 8th, 9th is Tim Darlow, Cole Edwards is 10th. And then in 11th, Ben Hitch. We've got Steve Stewart in 12th, Tyler Kelsey. Keith Mason is 14th. Billy Clark is 15th. Will Milner is 16th. Chris Waddell is 17th. Martin Ingham 18th. Mark Gilly is 19th. Mike Edwards. Mike, another driver who we speak to in the Paddock show, and it's great to see Mike back. Mike was the driver who got injured at Wilton Mill in last year's series, broke a leg. He had to sit the season out, and that was not to his liking, but it's great to see Mike back. 21st, Oliver Moss. Then we've got 22nd, Dave Nolan, Jason Bear, Chris Sivia, and Richard Evans, who dropped down the order. Lawrence Hilton, Steve Haswell, Jake Lewis, Martin Heath, and Harrison Crook.
I get the impression that the red flag has been called just for the sheer weight of numbers of carts that aren't running anymore but are on the track.
That could be, because I don't see anything
There's
that is
people pushing a cart. There's no sign of.
apparent.
Yeah, there's three carts off at the one of the hairpins.
No, there's a cart off there, and we're just waiting to recover that. So that might be the reason. I didn't see anything.
There are a couple of other carts which have just ground to a halt.
I can't see us restarting this though, Nick, because they were going to get the last lap board this time by, and as we see, Chris Thomas, who had a gap of 9.9 seconds there, completing lap number 9. He was the class of the field. The 177 class in the last round at Three Sisters, we saw Scott Clee made up 12 spots in the final to take the win, and that is after Scott Smith. So Scott Clee took the win after Scott Smith took a penalty. And then it was Harry Wainwright, the youngster, with Carl Bryant finishing in 3rd and 4th. Well, Harry Wainwright continues to be in that top 3 because he was right on the tail of Stephen Richardson.
I missed that race because I was trying to do some sound balancing.
And did you balance the sound?
It's about more balanced than it was. We were asked for more ambient. We've got ambient crazy now.
Have we?
Well, I can still hear you.
You can't have enough ambience.
That's what everyone says when they listen to our commentary for a whole day.
There's a lovely ambience here in the driver's
but
lounge.
We're now in charge of the entire driver's lounge. We've been left with the key, I think.
Yes, we have. Yes.
So come to the driver's lounge. We have cake.
A big thanks to...
We do have... Actually, this is a very important point, actually. We do have cake. Whilst we have this... Frank, can you cut up the other camera? Can you see Ash from the other side of the track, Frank?
Yeah, so that camera that you're watching there on the stream...
That's Frank. But the other camera over there... It comes in,
there
hands on head.
Give us a wave, Ash.
Give us a wave, Ash, you're on air.
And after 3, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
We're not really going to go through the whole thing.
Oh, yes, birthday. I did it for Diana. Be you.
Live on
TV? Yes.
Birthday,
dear Ash. Happy birthday to you. There we go.
He's 7.
Yeah, well, nearly. Not mentally, anyway.
We've got cake as well.
We have got cake.
Have we got candles?
No.
Well, that wasn't a very good plan.
Well, he's got a difficult history with fire.
Actually, you're not allowed naked flames in the driver's lounge.
Or anything naked.
Too much velour.
Yes.
There's too much velour in here.
Yes. The reason you're wearing fireproofs in the lounge has nothing to do with the danger of petrol. It's just to do with the danger of the furnishings.
So things brought to a bit of a premature halt right on the cusp of the heat going into its final lap.
Yeah, they're not going to restart this one, are they?
No, they'll probably get the drivers to bring their carts around.
About to do it. Looks like they've asked the drivers to go back to the carts.
Yeah.
So the good news is I haven't seen an ambulance dispatch, which is good news. So probably the biggest damage would be to egos and machinery.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see that because we had 30 carts in that race, and we've only got 3 cameras.
Yes.
And I haven't got the neck of an owl. So I really and plus the track is so big here. There is a lot of action. We expect the action to continue.
We're expecting non-stop action, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yes. We're so excited to bring you this extra added action that we haven't got any grid sheets.
Yes, we have over there. Pass the grid sheets.
Ah, right. Okay. Now, let's see.
Don't forget,
the man who needs the grid sheets.
I know. I spent a lot of time talking to Israel today. Some of these are falling out the bottom of my head.
So they're not in any order.
No, Chris handed over and said they're not in any order. Oh, okay.
Brilliant. So I need race 2. Right, talk amongst yourselves, everybody. Well, it's
a lovely day here at ROWRAH.
Yes,
it's a lovely day.
Do you know where we are geographically, Nick?
Near Hull.
We are just northwest of Brassenthwaite Lake.
Right, and we're quite near Workington.
If you have to, and I have to drive past Brassenthwaite Lake to get here, and then you basically drive past Brassenthwaite Lake, turn left, and if you come up the M6, that's also you will drive past Brassenthwaite Lake.
It just appears that all roads lead to Brassenthwaite,
which is lovely.
It's lovely. Brassenthwaite Lake's lovely.
So we've got the 162s coming next, and I have got a grid sheet.
Have
I have.
Excellent news. Oh, yeah, in fact, that's Heat 2. You're right. Race 3. That's
No, I've got race 3, but I'm after race 2.
It's all going on here.
Yes,
which race is it?
We got it. Race 2 is Senior Rotax 162.
So, yes, we've got a full day tomorrow. Because only a couple of heats today. There are a few more. We're going to do 4 or 5 on Saturday, but there's just a couple.
Just to help the Lord.
Busy day tomorrow. Well, it's kind of a different thing. It's coming out for your first heat when you've been practicing all day. It's a very different concept than coming out when you're cold after a couple of minutes of practice in the morning, isn't it?
Yes, you've got a bit of a warm up, which is just barely getting the tyres up to temperature, and then if the first heat off is. In fact, let's have a look at the timetable and tell you what we're kicking off with tomorrow. We've got. Kicking off, it's the 177s are back out. They will kick off the racing tomorrow morning. Warm-up starts at 9, and we've got 10, 2, 4, 6, 8 groups to get through. Of course, the 177s have got 2 grids, so groups A and B. The 162s have got 2 groups, A and B, and the Junior Rotax have got groups A and B. Then we've got Senior TKM and then Minimax, where we kick. First race of the day tomorrow will be Senior 177 and then Senior 162. Then we've got the Juniors and Junior Rotax and Senior TKM. So, and from that point on, we basically go absolutely flat out to the finals.
All the finals, yes.
The all-important finals. However, you do collect points that will...
What do points make?
Well, they make championships.
Good point there.
Scott Smith is current championship leader in the 177. Steve Gilly second. 232 points to 222 points. Then we've got Scott Clay. Scott actually won the first heat and the final. So it was a really good points haul for him. 50 points for winning heat number 1. And then he had a 10th and a 19th. And then he went out and won the final after Scott Smith had taken a penalty. Scott Smith had a second in Heat 2, and he took the final honours. Other Heat winners, Ryan Taylor-Truman took Heat 1. He's currently 7th in the championship. Nick Skelton.
What, the show jumper?
He took a Heat win because it was split over 3 heats. So Max Zanetti was another winner. Chris Thomas, he was another winner. Well, he started the weekend on top form, and he takes the first Heat win. Let's have a look at the 162s now, because they are the next grid that we've got coming out. So, Senior Rotax 162, where are you? There you are. Let's have a look at their championship. Finley Watson is the championship lead after only 1 round. Of course, all to play for. I mean, last year's champion Simon Keeble in the 162 didn't realise he'd won the championship, didn't even know he was in contention going into the final round. We had the final at Three Sisters was won by Ryan Micallef in very fine style, with Finley Watson, current championship leader, in second place. However, Finley had taken Heats 1 and Heats 3, so that puts him at the top. Third in the championship is the old master, Paul Ozan, and he took an 8th, a 5th, a 4th, and a 4th in the final. So that is a good points haul, hence he's in third place on 225. Philip Howarth currently 4th in the 162 championship. Now Philip is the current 177 champion, and he's dropped a lot of weight, and he's made the weight for 162, and he's out. We've got a spinner just coming off
a good start.
the paddock. out of the collecting area, I should say. So here we go, the second and final heat of the day. Back for more coverage tomorrow. This is Senior Rotax 162 to give it its full title. Lewis Berry leads the field round. Scott Russell alongside. Ollie Varney is in third. And then fourth, Dan Andrew alongside. Row 3 is Marcus King and Ben Harper. Then we've got Pedro Oliveira in his Brazilian colours on his cart, the green, blue and yellow. And then Kyle Dunford alongside. Row 5 is Rob Statham and Patrick Williams-Rohage. Bobby Rosier and James Wood, James local lad, on row 6. John Hobbs and Jack Hayes-Roberts are on row 7. Charlie Walsh and Luke Evans are on row 8. Row 9 is Jamie Hardy and Tommy Lee Davis. Then we've got Josh Morris, Braden Hill, Max Martin, Sam Elliott, Nathan Schaefer, Callum Fairley, Jodie Fox, who we speak to in the Paddock Show, Jacob McDonald. Then we've got Adam Rogers, Ryan David Mills, Alex Jackson, Scott Lowther and Philip Howarth. The current 177 champion of 2022 will start at the very back, so keep an eye on him on the number 101. Here we go.
And they're away, I think. The other clean one.
Oh, the lead. Oh, we've got somebody off into the barrier, and I'll tell you who that is. That is Jodie Fox, the independent who we speak to earlier on.
Oh, some bumping and boring there. The bottom of the first. I haven't got a track map.
I've done exactly what Jodie Fox has done. Come out of the chicane and fired into the barrier. We've got, as we would expect with mixed grids, we've got many places changed into the braking area for our hairpins here at ROWRAH. And as we go through the top one Stewarts, through the chicane, and it is the very distinctive yellow, bright yellow and blue livery of the number 30, which is Ollie Varney, who was brought away from the field, just left him in his wake as Ollie, and he's got almost 2 seconds to Dan Andrews. Pedro Oliveira moves up the order to third. Marcus King, Lewis Berry in fifth. Scott Russell, Jack Hayes-Roberts, Braden Hill, Ben Harper and Luke Evans rounding off the top 10.
And Oliveira up the inside there. One thing I haven't got is a track map. So
I have, it's in there, but I'm not going to fish it out.
So at that bottom hairpin.
That's ideal.
Ideal. Marvellous. Like, yeah, Stewart. Yeah, I'll get there.
Where they are now. Yeah. Where they are now.
Stewart S's.
Look at the lead that Ollie Varney has pulled. That is massive. Through the right-hander, sweeping downhill,
isn't it? And then Paddock, isn't it?
Our cameras do not give that downhill sweep any kind of perspective. It really is. And there we've got a cart in the midfield, just going a bit wide and causing consternation while the leaders go through the chicane. That's the third place cart, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, I think they closed down. Oh no, so second, Pedro Oliveira now is trying to bridge the gap towards Ollie Varney, isn't he?
Yes.
And he's dropping Andrews, Berry and King. Well, Berry and King got around Battle now, which is about to go in King's way as he comes up the inside there.
Who is that in the number?
That's the
28?
No, it's 34 down. It was Berry and Andrews fighting, I think, there, wasn't it? Was it? I don't know.
It's Marcus King on the 26. Marcus King, the LRG team livery there. That's the thing I noticed. Oh, he slows coming out of Stewart's. Marcus King, I'm pretty sure that Marcus King has gone and peeled off into the paddock, we've got a warning for 35. That might not be relevant to what we're talking about.
Not at the top, but Marcus King and Scott Russell have tumbled down the order. Marcus King is out. Russell's tumbled down. There's been some sort of coming together in the middle of the pack there.
I'm not sure what that was. He pulled out the Stewart's and the cart just began to stop. So he had to pull off.
Perhaps got a little bit of contact and they something got knocked slightly askew. So the first 4, as you can see, are very spaced out. 5th and 6th is where the only action really is.
I'll tell you what, Ollie Varney is not pulling away from Pedro Oliveira, who's the fastest cart on the track at the moment. The bright yellow and green, the national colours of Brazil for Pedro.
Up and round. About to start a new life right underneath till they go up and through ROWRAH, as named by Gaz Berry. ROWRAH is his title, though, up and down of the hill there. Joe and I were at Spa a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, Gaz did name that ROWRAH, didn't
ROWRAH, yes.
Because it's sweeping uphill, changing direction at the top.
So 4, 5, 6 now becoming a bit more. 3, 4, 5, 6 becoming a bit more now together.
And that's Dan Andrews, Lewis Berry, Luke Evans and Ben Harper, who we're watching there, just come through Stewart's. 4 carts behind them. Cal Dunford, Jack Hayes Roberts, Phil Howarth. Phil Howarth, look at that,
Where's he
9th
at?
place
Oh,
on for Philip Howarth, who just came through.
31st to 9th. That's
Yes,
a bit of a run.
31st to 9th in 4 minutes. 4 minutes of running. Just in the gold helmet there, just underneath us as we look to the chicane. As that battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th is about to be joined very, very soon by Philip Howarth. Still plenty of time.
A few people to get past first. And out the inside, and that's a nice little classical overtaking manoeuvre, out braking.
Luke Evans, that was.
Taking past Lewis Berry, but now there's a chance to...
Textbook, isn't it? Just pulls out into the braking area, brakes a little bit later, side by side, and the driver behind him who we overtook, Lewis Berry, just slotted in behind him. He wasn't going to make a fuss or bother about it because he would have lost time.
There's kind of a concertina effect again happening between 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As far as I say, it's how they're going past, and so they sweep underneath our second camera, now coming to start-finish again now. Howarth is the big mover in this one. He's the big winner, big gainer.
He hasn't gained anything.
But he's gained some gap.
He's gained some gap. Yes. He stays in 9th, but he's closed the gap to just under 0.3 of a second to that cart ahead of him. That's the next on his list is Jack Hayes Roberts in the 888 numbered cart out of Iredale's, heading down that back straight, picking up speed from virtually nothing, absolutely flat out, just using all of the track as well into the braking area for that. It's a very late apex there as well, Nick, so you leave the door wide open. You do.
So these three go. I'm trying to see where Howarth is. I think he's got one back. I think he's up to 8th with the gold helmet, as you said. And over the there's a little nudge out there, and then through goes the bright blue cart there from up through Row Rouge, and that just trying to get the number on that. My eyes aren't good enough, so that was a change there, and I think that was Harper getting past Andrews. And then we come again, Harper now moving. Oh, it's a superb cut runs there by the blue suited man through Stewart. He's probably going to have to give up on that one. No real movement. Varney and Oliveira are staying the same distance apart, but they are between the pair of them, gapping this bunch. This is 3rd place you see coming towards you now. And 4th, so it's a 3 cart and the 62 carts. It is Ben Harper now in 4th, really shaping up for the 3. Up through Row Rouge again. Harper looking to make a move and get himself into a podium position for this particular heat.
In the McRae's hairpin, that's the name of the left-hand one.
Howarth 7th now.
And it's Iredale's, the right-hand one. Heading down the back straight towards the Stewart S's, which is basically a 180-degree turn into a chicane. All part of the same complex, which is called Stewart. And then this right-hand sweep downhill is St John's. And Sunny Bend is the left-hander. And then the Paddock sweep opens up. Turn in, clip your apex, let the cart breathe out. How much ground has Philip Howarth made? He's gotten ahead of Dan Andrews there to complete 9 laps. And with less than a minute on the clock, we are getting very, very close to that 1 lap to go board. Still all to race for. Do you race in that situation there? The number 3 there, Luke Evans, has got Ben Harper with him. And, you know, he looks over his shoulder there, Ben Harper. It's a good spot to be in 4th place, picking up points going forward towards the final tomorrow. Do you push on?
It's a decent amount of points, but I suppose the thing that they know, these guys know, because they race each other on a regular basis, who should be ahead of the other. If one person has a major advantage, then you think, I'll let him go. But if you're much for much, no, I'll fight them to the death.
There's a reason why that driver's carrying the number 3.
Yes.
That's because he was 3rd in the 2022 championship.
So my guess is therefore he's not going to let the new joiner, not the man who came 62nd in the championship, Ben Harper, get past him.
That's right.
Lifted the wheel, lost the drive.
Side by side.
Got the line into Airedale. Will the cutback work? Not the old switcheroo.
No, let's not say that.
It's the cutback.
Yes, into Stewart's now. And these two, you know what? Ben Harper did not listen to what I said and said settle for 4th. Absolutely not. He's been looking for a way. He hasn't been overdriving. He's just been looking for gaps as the leader comes underneath us.
Gets the last lap board.
Last lap board being shown there.
And then they sweep round Paddock Bend and you'll get them up
Okay, battle for third this. There's some cracking battles going on down the field.
Howard's in 5th. He's stealthily just gaining places, but he's not going to gain these 2 places on the last lap.
Luke Evans is having to defend. Look at him looking over his shoulder there. He's having to defend. He can take middle of the road into Iredale's. He comes out and fires out, but this is where Ben Harper will get momentum. Not much of a slipstream effect there, was it? Into Stewart's for the final time. Just ahead of them, though, the number 30, Ollie Varney,
going to take this particular heat.
Will come underneath us now and take the checkered flag to win Heat 1 for the Senior Rotax 162. Second place is Pedro Oliveira, and there's the battle for third. Just coming under the flat underneath us now and takes the flag. Luke Evans is in third. Fourth is Ben Harper. Philip Howarth, he's got to be pleased with that. 31st on the grid and finishes in 5th. Kyle Dunford 6th. Dan Andrews 7th. Charlie Walsh 8th. Nathan Carter is 9th. Adam Rogers 10th. John Hobbs 11th. Braden Hill. Bobby Rosier. 14th is Max Martin. Ryan David Mills. Scott Lowther will finish in 16th. Jack Hayes Roberts 17th. 18th is Tommy Lee Davis. Jodie Fox recovered from absolutely smacking into that barrier and did a great job to come through and finish the race just ahead of local lad James Woods, 19th and 20th. Josh Morris, Scott Russell, Alex Jackson, Callum Foley 24th, Patrick Williams-Raj, Jamie Harding, Lewis Berry, Rob Statham, Sam Elliott. We lost on lap 6. Marcus King completed 2 laps, so we lost him on lap 3. That was unfortunate for the LRG driver. And Jacob McDonald rounding off the 31 kart field and classified in 31st place.
So that ends the action for today. Though we are going to just give you a bit of a sneak peek at the Paddock show, the shortened Paddock show for tomorrow. As you are here, we'll be back. I think we're going to be live about 9:45 tomorrow morning. So we won't try the heat for a action-packed. I've had a very stressful day. An action-packed day here at ROWRAH. So enjoy a bit of lunchtime entertainment before lunch now, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Hello and welcome to ROWRAH in, well, sunny Cumbria for round 2 of the NKC 2023, one of the most historic and long-standing circuits in the country. Joe, what are we looking forward to this weekend? Because it's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for the NKC.
Yeah, well, 2 days of racing. We kick off with the first couple of heats today and then into tomorrow. We're at ROWRAH, Nick, and ROWRAH, did I mention that this is the first place I ever raced at? Here back in, well, you know, we've done it.
1871.
Whatever.
He was actually racing behind a horse and cart.
One of my favourite tracks. A little bit different now. ROWRAH is all about getting into and out of these hairpins. There are 3 what you would call hairpins, 180-degree turns, where it's all about carrying speed in, but just carrying enough speed to be able to optimise how you get out of them. And that also brings lots of opportunities for overtaking. We're in the entertainment business, Nick. It's all about overtaking for us in the NKC. And if, you know what, if the racing is half as good as what we saw at round 1 at Three Sisters, then we're in for a treat.
Yeah, I mean, of course, once again, we have a dry day, so the old tyre allocation, the tyre tactics will come into play. Some people have saved new sets from last time, some people won't. So we're going to see, I think, a bit of an ebb and flow compared to the previous races. Yeah,
I kind of love that about NKC. You've got, you know, 2 sets of tyres, 4 front tyres, 4 rear tyres that you've got to use across the whole season. That's completely different to other kart racing series, and it adds that element of, well, jeopardy, because if the sun continues to shine through 2023 and we don't have any wet race weekends, then by the time we get to round 6 we're going to be really struggling for grip. And here we are at round 2, we've got virtually new rubber, so whether or not you deploy the second set at this early stage, that might pay dividends now. But what's it going to be like when we get to round 6? So that, you know, that's the strategy, that's the tactical sort of usage of how we can play with our tyres. And we're in the UK, so who can plan the weather? Who knows what the weather's going to be?
When the snow comes tomorrow morning, well, it's enough of us to say what we think is going to happen, what may happen. What we need to do is have you finding out from the paddock what they think will happen.
Well, let's do that, because there's plenty of people to talk to who are actually willing to talk to us. NKC continues to grow, new competitors coming into the series, and this year 2023 sees Billy Edgecombe here, kart number 20 in junior Rotax. Billy, welcome to the NKC, round 2 already. How's this season going so far for you?
I'd say so far it's all right. We've had a few naff results, but we're quick, so hopefully we'll get there in some point.
Yeah, that's some would say that's motorsport, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's ups and downs. You're new to the NKC. What karting have you done before?
Well, I've been karting for 7 years. Last year we did Super 1, and then just sort of clubbies really, but yeah, we sort of tried this year.
So what's the main differences with the NKC and something like a national championship like the Super 1 championship?
Well, I'd say with Super 1 obviously we've got qualifying, so with the mixed grids it's obviously a lot harder with the overtaking and getting through the pack, but I think that adds a bit of fun to it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah. Yeah,
do you think the mixed grids, and just to remind everybody, mixed grids mean you get to start at near the back, in the middle, and at the front of the grid in your heats? Does that kind of make things fairer? You find that, because with time qualifying, if you don't get that lap, you are going to be at the back all day. This gives it a much more fairer playing field.
I think it does, but only thing I'd say with quali is it sort of puts you where you deserve to be almost, so it's a lot easier for the race just to flow. But with the mixed grids, I think it adds a lot more opportunities to it, and it gives other drivers experiences where they possibly wouldn't if they had quali. And like you said, if you didn't get a lap in qualifying, then you ruined your weekend. Whereas if you've got mixed grids, then it's all down to luck really at the end of the day. So it's how well you can get through a pack. Yeah,
and I would imagine you really enjoy that because it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to race with someone.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, you always find a battle somewhere, and it's always just trying to get back to the front where I feel like I should be. So yeah, it's really fun.
What would you say to someone who's kind of on the fence and thinking about the NKC or thinking about doing another championship? What would you say to them to bring them to race with you?
I think NKC, it's run really well. The times are good. Obviously, with national championships, you have to have Friday testing. If you can't afford to be doing that or you're in school, then obviously we get a Saturday test day here, so that makes it a lot better. And it's just a nice environment and nice places to race. Yeah, good calendar.
Thanks, Billy.
Cheers, mate.
Adam Rogers is one of those drivers in the NKC who's got a wealth of experience across the classes. Adam, you were the 100 UK champion and you've then transitioned to Rotax, and there you were, 2022. The number 7 there on the front of the cart there, that means 7th in the championship.
That's right. Yeah, some might say beginner's luck, but after coming off the back of the 100 UK Championship, we believe we'd be competitive, but I am on the older side of the grid. I'm in the Masters group, but it was a great year. It was the first time to try a different class because I've only ever done TKM. We raced back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then we had a 13-year gap, came back and did the 100 UK, which we won, and then thought we'd try Rotax. So it's been eye-opening, and we've had a good year, but we're hoping to build on it this year.
So, all right, we don't have 100 UK with us, but we've got TKM, and they're a very similar kart. What are the differences that are discernible between driving the 125cc Rotax kart and the TKM?
The most obvious thing for me was obviously it's a big power upgrade. You're going from 115cc to 125, and you've also got the power band, which takes a little bit of adapting to. Mid-corner, you're on the power, and then the power valve kicks in. It can really unsettle the kart. So that's been challenging on its own. Obviously, softer tyres, really changing your driving style. Because you've got to brake harder because you're going a lot faster. So it is really challenging to drive, and hats off to some of the other guys in the field as well. I keep saying my age, 36, but Paul Ozan's making that hard for me to use as an excuse. So. So the power and the grip really are the main differences for me.
Right. The racing, pretty much the same. I mean, it's karting. It's so competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The racing is a lot closer. I think the tyres and the power do make up for a lot of people being in the same pace, which is another difference, I suppose, to TKM. You might get 4 or 5 quick drives in this. It could be 20. So it is a battle and a train, and you've just got to grind it out and keep out of trouble. That's another one. Just keep out of trouble.
I've spoken to another driver about the mixed grids in comparison to time qualifying. What's your preference?
If you'd have asked me after the 100 UK, I'd have said mixed grids all day long. But then after coming into Rotax in a bigger grid, probably in more mixed abilities. I would be keen to try the time qualifying, and I think that possibly it could maybe be better from a driving point of view, but maybe not from the spectator point of view. So I don't know which one's more important.
That's the key thing, Adam.
Yeah.
We're in the entertainment business. Mixed grids are brilliant.
Exactly.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Harry Wainwright has been perhaps becoming a stalwart of the NKC. We spoke to Harry last year. He's actually grown to be even a bit taller. I'm going to need a box if you continue growing, my boy. So, Harry, GCSE time, isn't it? And you missed practice yesterday because of more important things. Is that going to affect your weekend?
Hopefully not. No, we have had a good practice day so far. Yeah, just been changing things, trying to get used to setup and stuff. Had a good day. Yeah.
Now, if just to remind everybody, Harry here is only 16 still?
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, hence the GCSEs. Now, Harry was growing far too quickly for a normal human, clearly. So he had to move into the seniors. He got dispensation, didn't you, to move into the seniors. You moved into the senior 162 class, but Harry continued to grow. And here we are this year in the 177 class. So that's the heavier category, because as you can see, Harry's a big and tall lad. Any major difference between the 162s and the 177s, what you found?
Not really, no. The racing, I think, is still as close and it's still really good and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so no difference. Did you find any major difference when you moved from the junior category into seniors? Because you were too young, effectively, to be in seniors, weren't you?
Yeah, it was more just the speed, getting used to that, really. That was the thing that was more difficult to get used to. And then after that, we just kept working on it. And then, yeah, we're getting on all right now. So, yeah, I'm happy with where we're at.
So yeah, what you mean, Harry, is in juniors, the engine's slightly restricted, isn't it? So you could really feel the difference when you've stepped into a senior kart.
Yes, definitely, yeah. It's a big change, but, yeah, I'm definitely really enjoying it.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you, how the GCSEs going then?
Yeah, they're going good. I've had about 4 so far, and they're all going well. So, yeah, I'm happy with them, yeah.
What's your favourite subject?
Probably geography.
Geography, well, if you stay in motorsport, you're going to travel a lot, so that's going to come in useful. Thanks, Harry. Best of luck for the weekend, mate. Thanks again for talking to us.
Thank you.
100 TKM is perhaps one of the most competitive classes here in the NKC, and Molly Biles here is right in the thick of it. Molly, 100 TKM, it's a great class. You're obviously enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great. Sort of in the middle of the pack at the moment, but I'm hoping that sometime by the end of the season I'll get running up the front, but it's just a case of catching them, seeing if I can keep up with them, following their lines, seeing what tricks they're doing, because everyone's got their own sorts of tricks. And just going from there, really. Seat time is always good.
Yeah, so you think that there's more time to come from yourself rather than relying upon Dad who's mechanicking?
Yeah, we do changes every now and then. I mean, we've come back from a race and instantly we're making changes based on what I went out on. But at the end of the day, it's who you're battling with on track. So if I'm stuck at the front, obviously I've got to make changes to keep up with them. But at the moment, I've got to keep up with the middle pack to then get further. So it's just doing it step by step to get better and better and better.
Yeah. It looks absolutely chaotic when you're standing on the sidelines, as we are. Is it as chaotic from the driver's seat?
It can be. The first few laps are definitely always a bit of chaos. You never know who's going to come up the inside of you and surprise you. You might get a tack on the behind sort of thing, but after a few laps it sort of fizzles itself out and it's all right. Yeah,
when it settles down. Now, Molly, you were telling me that for a living you are an apprentice motor vehicle technician, is it?
Yeah, Mercedes apprentice technician.
Yeah, so I was an apprentice. I wasn't a Mercedes technician, but we called it mechanics, as me and your dad called it being a mechanic. So what old school exactly, Dad? What exactly are you training to be? You know, are we looking at sort of the age where you're going to be servicing Mercedes and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Well, at the moment, my mentor lets me do services. So, I mean, I'm only about 8 months in, but I can do services on my own. But the future is to be able to take apart cells, like individual cells in high voltage batteries, and replace them, which is sort of where the future's going. But we've already had to replace a few at work. But my mentor's doing training to actually physically take out the cell and replace it with a new one. So sort of doing in-depth servicing on the batteries instead of replacing the whole kit, because it's about 16 grand for a new high voltage battery.
Right, and is your dealership, are you seeing more and more EV vehicles coming through the workshop than you do fossil fuels?
Yeah, well, we get the odd fossil fuel car come through for services and all of that, but mainly it's the electric cars coming in with faults with the chargers and the batteries and stuff. But with the technology that we've got, it's quite easy to diagnose what the problem is.
Right. What do you mean by that? You see, you said that as if like I should know what that means. What do you mean it's easier to diagnose?
Well, we've got a system called Whiz, which is like a subscription software, and we plug like a multiplexer into the OBD port of the car, and it reads all the data from all the different control units. So we get to see what control unit is doing what fault, what's going on where, what's linked to each other. We get wiring diagrams, get absolutely everything to work on the car.
Right. So that's basically a computer tells you everything that's going on in there.
Yeah, basically, a computer just tells you how it works.
Wow. So EV the future? Without getting too controversial. Remember what you do for a living and who you work for.
It's definitely going somewhere, but there's potential that it could fall through in a few years.
Right, so your training is purely to do with EV then, electric vehicles. Are you taught about the auto cycle? Are you taught about, are you taught about pistons and fuels?
Yeah, we do get taught about that because we need to know all the basics anyway, because at some point we get old classic cars coming in and the old 2004 car that's a rust bucket. Yeah. So we do need to know all of that stuff. So yeah, we do get taught about the auto cycle and all the other stuff. Everything else to do with petrol cars and diesels.
Well, this is a two-stroke, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about the TKM engine there. It's a single-cylinder two-stroke. What else can you tell us?
I think roughly all the carts on the grid are about 115cc. Obviously some people tune theirs to the limits. They might be a little bit more, a little bit less. But 9 times out of 10 they're 115cc. At the last race at Wigan I topped about 70 mile an hour going down the back straight, which is obviously quite a lot. I think here I've topped at about 60. But they're quite aggressive carts. The engines are very much full of vibrations and life. So you do sort of become one with the cart when you're driving around. But then again it depends on what chassis you're running and where you get your engines built, how the car actually handles on circuit, because the different firmness of the chassis really depends on what your driving style is.
And training as a technician, Molly, you've obviously got a bit of a, we're all geeks here together, aren't we, in karting and motorsport, so you're obviously getting, you're interested in that side of things as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the interview room I was the only person that had any sort of links to motorsport, so I think they sort of sided with me a little bit to go, oh yeah, she's interested in karting and stuff, we'll have her on. So I think it does help, but it is interesting as well because I do really enjoy it, and I really enjoy working on cars as well, even if for most of the days I'm standing watching my mentor do wiring and fiddling about with a soldering iron most days. It's still really interesting to do. And your mechanic's all right, is he? Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Where's he gone, by the way? Oh, there he is, just relaxing. It's her dad, everybody. Thanks, Molly. Best of luck with your career as a Mercedes engineer. I drive a Mercedes, but I'm old school. I've got the rust bucket from 2004.
Yeah, it's all right.
If you're a follower of the NKC Championship at Wilton Mills round last year, we saw a very nasty accident that involved this man here, Mike Edwards. Mike, it's great to see you back. You had a very, very nasty-looking accident where you broke a leg. You took the rest of the season out, which was a shame. Tell me, what was the recovery like, etc., etc.?
Yeah, the recovery was long, and like a lot of time off work and laying up on your back and sort of losing money and whatnot. But yeah, we got through it. 6 months. Yeah. The pain only lasted a week. It was more the pain of not getting back to it.
Well, talking about getting back to it, some would say, how crazy are you to then get back into one of these things and continue to race? Yeah,
and then to get a pole for my first race at Wigan. Yeah. It was the bumhole was going a little bit.
So you didn't lose it. You didn't forget it. How to do it?
It was a test for myself, I think. Going back to Wigan just to test to see if, to see if I still want to do it. But as soon as the green flag dropped, I forgot about the crash.
So the psychology of it, Mike, then is that you've got so much happening when you're sat in a seat of a cart that the last thing on your mind is that what happened at Wilton.
The only thing on my mind up until I sat in the cart, and then as soon as that flag drops, you just forget about everything, and all you want to do is try and make places, which I didn't. But we'll get there. I think we'll get back there.
Well, I thought you came back with a massive bang, the right kind of bang at Three Sisters. How's ROWRAH for you? Do you like this place?
Yeah, I love ROWRAH. Last year, absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's picturesque. Look, it's to look at, to drive it.
On a day like today,
the views are brilliant. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, can't complain at all.
Now, Mike Edwards Motorsport, you're a big supporter of NKC.
Yeah, we actually do exhaust systems for everything but go-karts.
Right.
But we sponsor different drivers in different formulas and different sorts of sport, and we don't get nothing back for it. So I sort of thought, why not put into what we're coming to do and what's given to us, and give back to what's given to us, really. Obviously, a team of lads here and all the boys, we just started this for a little bit of fun. We all run around at midfield and we enjoy ourselves, and we hope that if we can get in the A final, it's an achievement. We're not here kidding ourselves to know that we're gonna be winning anything. So yeah.
I think the majority of people go racing for that very reason. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your business there, Edwards Motorsport. So you mentioned exhaust there. Is that sort of performance exhaust airing towards that? And is it road cars or is it track cars?
So it's predominantly it is race cars from WRC, Le Mans, circuit cars, touring cars. We do, from them levels of motorsport all the way down to your clubmen and your sort of, just guys that just want to have a little bit of fun and buy a car and have a play around. All stainless steel exhaust systems, look us up. It's good for performance, good for the look of all these sort of styling cars and hot roddy type setups, for people that aren't racing. Yeah, that's all what we're about, really.
So you could say, mate, you're living the dream, because your real life job is working in motor racing.
Yeah, living what we work and working what we live. Yeah, it's not always a dream, but yeah, it's as good as it's better than what some people do for work. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly, mate. It's great to see you back. I'm really happy to see you back, and best luck for the rest of the season. Just don't do it again.
I'll try not to.